An issue that a lot of unfaithful spouses deal with, but equally true is the fact that a betrayed spouse suffers from this as well. It was one of the most wounding concepts that I had to walk through, and that was rejection. Now, rejection to me taps into childhood origin issues as well, and it would take several vlogs for me to kind of describe to you the childhood rejection that I had to walk through from parents, from coaches, from friends. It was just very ugly. So when we started to walk down the recovery path, rejection was something that had to be addressed in a very significant way. One story that I'll never forget that really, I think, not just rattled my cage, but woke me up to the enormity of how rejection was operating in my life was this story. Now, I need to give you a little bit of backstory in that I was a very public figure. I was a pastor and had a pretty large following and traveled a lot and spoke a lot. So when my affair became public, it was pretty ruthless in how it went down. And a massive amount of people found out about it slowly, but then as it hit the internet, extremely quickly, if you will. It got very ugly. And so we were a part of a church and then a network of churches, a family of churches, if you will. So my affair becomes public. We are kicked out of the church. We're disowned. It's ugly. Samantha and I are trying to find help. We're not sure what we're going to do. We realize it's time to move to Austin because Samantha had a couple of friends here. I was just willing to do whatever it took to stay with my family. We get here and a sister church sends a message to us that says, listen, don't even think about coming to church here. This is not a safe place for you. You don't belong here. Please don't even think about coming here. Now, that was devastating. And it uncorked a lot of hidden rejection issues that I had stuffed down. And let me just tell you, if you're feeling rejected today, it's okay. It's normal. If you're a betrayed spouse, I understand from what Samantha has gone through and helping a sea of other betrayed spouses that you feel more rejected than anybody. You've seemingly felt rejected by your spouse. And so the journey of walking through rejection for you is immeasurable. If you are an unfaithful spouse, you are also probably dealing with a large amount of rejection if your affair has become public and people have found out about it, and your friends and your family members and your coworkers, and I could go on down the list, have said, whoa, we've hit the line in the sand where we as friends say, too far, too much, I'm done. Rejection, though, can be a servant. And let me tell you some of my own story and see if it doesn't help you. Rejection helped me, number one, because it forced me to face and confront my self-esteem issues that I had masqueraded with all of these great friends. And keep in mind, I was surrounded by pro athletes and by musicians and very successful people and successful pastors. I was living the dream, and so I really was able to keep my self-esteem issues at bay because I had a shield around me, and I thought this shield was all these great friends and all this success and all this performance-based success, so I wasn't feeling rejected. But when I had to deal with this rejection, it forced me to confront all of my dysfunctional self-esteem issues. Number two, it completely transformed my relationship with God. Now, for me, being a Christian, I really lost my way. My relationship with God was completely transfigured in a very dark way. And as I was rejected, it forced me to have to reconnect and reevaluate and understand that I was not rejected by God. And that though I even felt rejected by God, that wasn't the truth. And it caused me to have to really reacquaint myself with the truths of the gospel and really understand that God was actually not done with me at all. God was going to a whole nother level. As Rick says, God was just getting started with me. God was just reacquainting himself with me. God was actually pursuing me, not running away from me. And he's pursuing you. He's not running away from you. God's not done with you. God's not washed his hands of you. God doesn't hold grudges towards his children. God's not forsaken you, even though it may feel like that. For those of you that are not Christians, let me just tell you, I understand what it's like to be forsaken by everybody you've ever known, every relationship you've ever had, even close family members, people that have baptized your children, people that have fought with you tooth and nail, who've been in fights with you against other people and they reject you. But listen, I promise you, there's a whole new set of friends for you. There's a whole new set of relationships for you. There may be even a new dimension of your relationship with your spouse. But rejection is a tool. It will cause you to begin to say, wait a minute, hold on here. If you're rejecting me now, you're not the relationship that I want to continue to invest in. I need people who will fight through thick and thin with me, that'll stand with me no matter what, that they may tell me the truth and they may take me to the woodshed, but they're not going to disown me when I fail. The next thing rejection did for me is it caused me to be alone. And when you're alone, you confront some dark things that you don't confront when you're surrounded by people or surrounded by success. When you're alone, you have to tackle some dark voices. You have to confront some dark inner child voices. You have to be in a place of, at some level, being alone to do some heavy lifting of recovery work. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't find community or a support group, but let me tell you, when all the other false support systems are removed, you're forced to have to ask yourself, what's most important to me? What do I want my life to be based on and rest upon? Finally, I just want to tell you, there's a whole new set of friends for you. Whether your marriage is over or whether your marriage is going to be restored, there's a whole new set of friends. There's a whole new set of relationships. There's a whole lot bigger world waiting for you than the little small world that used to be everything to you. I promise you, if you will pursue recovery, if you'll do what it takes to get healthy, there's a whole new community of people that will stand with you and support you if you will pursue healthy recovery and do recovery work.